Your coworker just bought a brand new truck. You know this because he parked it right in front of the office entrance where everyone has to walk past it. He's showing people pictures of the interior during the morning meeting. Leather seats, panoramic sunroof, the whole production. And for about 30 seconds, you feel this quiet sinking in your chest, like you're falling behind, like everyone around you figured something out and forgot to tell you. But here's what's interesting. You checked your account last night. You have money sitting in savings you haven't touched. You don't owe anyone anything on your car. You slept fine. No anxiety, no dread about the first of the month. So who's actually ahead? I've spent the last few years obsessed with one question that ruins dinner parties. Why do the people who look the richest panic the most when something breaks? And the answer keeps coming back the same way. The real signs of financial progress are invisible. They don't show up in your driveway or on your Instagram. They show up in how you sleep, how you make decisions, and what you don't feel the need to buy. The entire economy is designed to make you feel behind. Every ad, every "you deserve it" campaign, every 0% for 12 months offer exists to keep you performing wealth instead of building it. So here are 10 signs you're actually ahead. Not in some motivational poster way, but measurably, structurally ahead of the majority of adults in this country based on the data. Some are obvious. A few will surprise you. And at least one might make you uncomfortable, because it'll force you to admit you're doing better than the story you've been telling yourself. Financial progress doesn't feel like progress. It feels boring. It feels like watching paint dry while everyone else is out buying jet skis. The people who are actually winning often feel like they're behind, because the people who are losing are the ones making all the noise. They're the ones with the new truck. They're the ones posting vacation photos every 6 weeks. And most of them are drowning. Sign number 1. You have at least 1 month of expenses saved in cash that you haven't touched. This sounds almost embarrassingly basic, but according to the Federal Reserve, over a third of American adults cannot cover an unexpected expense of a few $100s without borrowing money or selling something. Not a few $100,000, a few $100. If you have even 1 month of living costs sitting in a savings account, just sitting there being boring, you've got something most people would kill for. A buffer. And buffers change everything. You don't take the first job offer out of desperation. You don't put the car repair on a credit card. You don't lie awake doing math at 2 a.m. That's not wealth. But it's the concrete slab wealth gets built on. Sign number 2. You don't carry a credit card balance month to month. This doesn't mean you don't use credit cards. It means when the statement comes, you pay it off. The full amount. The average American household carrying credit card debt owes over $10,000 at interest rates that should be illegal, but somehow aren't. If your balance hits 0 every month, you've escaped what I call the silent drain. That slow, invisible bleed where money leaves your account not because you bought something, but because you bought something 3 months ago and you're still paying for it. The financial industry loves the silent drain. It's their favorite customer. Sign number 3. You know roughly what you spend every month. You don't need a color-coded spreadsheet. You don't need an app that categorizes every coffee. But if someone asked you right now, what does your life cost per month? And you could answer within a reasonable range, you're ahead. Most people genuinely do not know. They earn, they spend, and whatever's left is what they have. That's not a plan. That's a current carrying you wherever it wants to go. Now, these first 3 signs might feel underwhelming. Nobody's bragging about their 1-month emergency fund at dinner. But without these 3 things, every other financial move you make is built on sand. With them, you have something most people spend years chasing: the ability to absorb a bad month without it becoming a bad year. Here's where it shifts. Signs 1 through 3 were about stability. Signs 4 through 6 are about restraint. And restraint is the thing that actually separates people who manage money from people who build it. Sign number 4. You've said no to something you could technically afford. This might be the most revealing sign on this entire list. At some point, you looked at something, a vacation, a car upgrade, a nicer apartment, and you had the money. It was right there. You could have pulled the trigger and your account wouldn't have blinked. And you didn't. Not because you're cheap, because somewhere along the way you figured out that can afford and should buy are two completely different questions. The entire consumer economy is engineered to blur that line. Every financing option, every treat yourself message, every influencer unboxing video, it all exists to make sure you never ask the second question. If you've started asking it anyway, you've crossed a psychological line that most people never even see. That's not white-knuckle discipline. It's clarity. You know what your money is for, so spending it on the wrong thing actually feels wrong. Like wearing someone else's shoes. They technically fit, but something's off. Sign number 5. You're putting money into some kind of investment, even a small amount, on a regular basis. I'm not talking about picking stocks or watching charts. I mean you've set up some kind of system where money moves from your account into something that grows. A retirement fund, an index fund, anything. The amount almost doesn't matter right now. What matters is the behavior. Your future self gets paid before your present self finishes spending. Roughly half of American adults have nothing invested. 0. If you've got even a modest amount growing in the background, you're doing something that half the country hasn't started. Sign number 6. You could lose your job tomorrow and survive for at least 3 months without panic. Not comfortably, not happily, but you wouldn't need to borrow money in the first week. You'd have runway. 3 months of runway. That's it. That's the difference between negotiating from strength and begging from weakness. Nobody sees it, but it reshapes every decision you make. How you talk to your boss, what risks you take, how fast you leave situations that are slowly killing you. Sign number 7. Your net worth is positive. Meaning, if you added up everything you own, savings, investments, equity in your home, and subtracted everything you owe, student loans, car loans, credit cards, mortgage, the number left is above 0. This sounds like a low bar. It is. But a significant percentage of adults at every age owe more than they own. They're underwater, and most of them don't even know it because nobody sits down and runs this calculation. They just see income coming in and bills going out and assume the math works. If your number is positive, even barely, even if it wouldn't impress anyone, you're standing on solid ground, while a lot of people around you are standing over a hole they haven't looked into yet. And here's what matters more than the number: the direction. A positive net worth that grows even a little each month is a machine, compounding quietly in the background. A negative net worth getting worse each month is also a machine, just pointed the other way. Same math, opposite direction, completely different life in 10 years. Sign number 8. You don't finance things that lose value. Or if you do, you understand exactly what it's costing you. Cars, electronics, furniture. When you take out a loan on something worth less tomorrow than today, you're paying interest on an object that's actively decomposing in value while you make payments on it. It's a wealth destroyer that's been so normalized, people think it's just how life works. The dealership doesn't show you the total cost. They show you the monthly number. And the monthly number always sounds manageable. That's the trick. If you buy your cars in cash, even older ones, even ones that don't turn heads, you've stepped off one of the most effective financial treadmills ever built. Most people carry a car payment continuously, rolling from one financed vehicle into the next, never once experiencing what it feels like to just not owe anyone for their transportation. The sign isn't that you never finance anything. The sign is that when you do, you've done the math. You know the true cost. You chose it deliberately instead of sleepwalking into it. Sign number 9. You've stopped comparing your financial life to what you see other people displaying. This might be the most important sign on this list, and the hardest to measure because it lives entirely inside your head. At some point, something shifted. You stopped looking at your neighbor's kitchen renovation and feeling that knot in your stomach. You stopped scrolling through vacation photos and running mental math on how far behind you must be. You started evaluating your life against your own goals, your own timeline, your own definition of enough. This shift is rare because comparison is the engine that drives almost every bad financial decision. Nobody buys a house they can't afford because they love the house that much. They buy it because they feel behind. Nobody leases a luxury car because it gets them to work faster. They lease it because they need the world to see they're okay. When you disconnect your spending from your need for external validation, every dollar starts going where you actually want it instead of where your anxiety is pointing. That's not budgeting. That's freedom. Sign number 10. You think about money in terms of systems, not willpower. This is the one that ties everything together, and it might be the clearest dividing line between people who build wealth and people who just white-knuckle their way through every month hoping discipline holds. Most people treat money like a character flaw. They think the reason they're not saving is because they're weak. So they try harder. They make budgets on January 1st, they delete shopping apps, they promise themselves they'll stop eating out. It works for about 11 days. Then life happens and they're back where they started. Feeling guilty, feeling behind, feeling like the problem is them. It's not them. It's the approach. The people who are actually ahead figured out something different. They stopped relying on motivation and started building infrastructure. Money moves automatically on the first of the month before they ever see it. Investments happen in the background without them logging in to decide whether this is a good month. The answer is always yes, because the system already decided. If your savings happen because you remember to transfer money at the end of the month, that's willpower. If your savings happen because the transfer is scheduled and you'd have to actively cancel it to stop it, that's a system. One works sometimes, the other works almost always. And this extends beyond automation. Systems thinkers design their financial life so the default behavior is the right behavior. They don't keep massive credit limits on cards they don't need. They don't browse shopping sites for entertainment. The environment is designed so spending requires effort, and saving requires nothing. Every other sign on this list becomes sustainable when you think this way. Emergency fund? Automated. Investments? Automated. Avoiding lifestyle inflation? Built into the structure. You're not fighting yourself every day. You set it up once, adjust occasionally, and the machine runs. That's the list. 10 signs. None of them involve a 6-figure salary. None of them require a stock portfolio that would impress anyone at a cocktail party. None of them look like anything from the outside. And that's the part that messes with people. We've been trained to measure financial progress by what's visible. The car, the house, the watch, the vacation photos. We've been taught that being ahead means looking ahead. So when you're doing the quiet work, saving, investing, saying no, building runway, it doesn't feel like winning. It feels like waiting. It feels like everyone else got the memo except you. But being financially ahead doesn't mean having the most. It means needing the least from circumstances you can't control. It means your boss can say something unhinged on a Monday morning, and your first thought isn't, I can't afford to lose this job. It means your car breaks down and it ruins your Tuesday, not your year. It means you pick what you do with your time. Not all the time, maybe not even most of the time yet. but more than you could last year. You can keep doing what most people do. Swallow the truck in the parking lot feeling, perform confidence you don't have, and hope the math eventually works itself out. Or you can keep doing the boring, invisible, unglamorous thing you're already doing, building something underneath you that nobody can see and nobody can take. One of those paths ends with freedom. The other ends with a really nice car and a stomach full of acid. You already know which one you're on.